3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so let's make your first 3D character. So first tap this little camera here and make sure that you're in orthographic. Next, go over to here, go down to smooth shading, and make sure you have smooth shading on. I have mine in auto, which for me, auto is on. So you want to make sure smooth shading is on. And also you might see a grid, and here's a shortcut for the grid here. So I think I'm going to leave mine off, so I'm just going to turn mine off. And also, if you're wondering why my background is black, you can change the color of the background here to anything you want. So let's keep things simple, and this will be the head. So this is a sphere. This is our first 3D shape, our first default 3D mesh. That's all here in the scene menu. So this is where all your shapes are going to be, in the scene menu. Let's tap these 3 dots, hit name, and let's just rename it head. So now let's add another sphere for the body. So we're going to go back to this same scene menu. We have head here, add, sphere. Okay, so now we have this sphere here. So let's take the gizmo. So the gizmo is our 3D controller. So this is how we'll move objects. So you have the arrows that move it like this. I'm going to tap with 2 fingers to undo. You have the large orange ring, that's the scale. And then you have some other options. These rings, they rotate it. And these little spheres, they stretch it. And you might have seen that pop-up that's asking me to save your project. So let's just save. And we'll do C. What is this? March? April? April. Okay, so now we're saved. So let's go to our scene. Let's take this sphere and just name it body. So we'll tap here, name, body. Okay, so now we can validate. You'll notice that the head is written in white and this is written in orange. So we can validate now. So you have to validate your shape in order to be able to use all of the tools. So make sure you're on the body, and let's take the green arrow and move this down. Now if you want your character to be, if you want your character to be big, you can make the body big like this. I think I'll keep mine small for now. Maybe something like that. So I've turned it to the side. I'm going to use this blue little sphere just to kind of shrink it together a little bit. So it looks the same from the front, but on the side, you can see that I just kind of shrunk it. So let's use our first tool. So our tools are down the side like this, but you can tap here and kind of get them in a tighter little box. Let's use move. And let's make sure we keep symmetry on. That way we can affect both sides at once. So what I think I want to do is maybe stretch this out a little bit here. I'll turn it to its side. And let's make the tool a little bit bigger. And let's kind of pull the front part out. You pull kind of back and forth and it'll just start to manipulate it. So let's make the front a little more round. And let's make the back, let's push the back in a little bit. Usually backs kind of have a bit of a curve to them. So I'm just kind of pushing the top part, pull in the bottom part and pull in the front a bit. So maybe something like that. Okay, it looks pretty good from the front. And you can also try that with the head. Let's say we want to take the head and kind of stretch it. Any part that you tap on, that's the part that the tool is going to be affecting. Okay, so we can look at it in the side view. Maybe we want to pull the back of the head out a little bit. And maybe we want to flatten the front a bit. Okay, we'll turn it to the front. Then maybe we'll pull the side out a bit more. So maybe something like that. Okay, I'm going to take the body and I'm going to use the gizmo and just move it back a little bit. So the head's kind of in the middle. So of course you can do any of these shapes. You can do a different shape, you can use move, and you can really make it crazy if you want. Okay, so let's take the tube tool right here. Actually, yours might be somewhere else, but it'll look like a squiggly line. And let's use path. So here's the tools over here. Let's use path. And it should look like this. So now what you want to do is tap down on the screen and hold. And then we're going to drag to the body. And then we'll let go. So now we'll hit this little green sphere. So now we have our tube. So we can turn to the side. And let's just kind of position the arm. So I want to take snap and I want to turn that off. And what that is, when you have snap, then it's going to try to make the arms snap to the surface. And we want to put this part of the arm into the surface. So that's why we turned it off. So these nodes are how you control the tube tool. So maybe we'll make the arms a little smaller. Let's go back to the front view. And you'll notice I always tap this snap cube. It's really great to just kind of know where you are in space. Okay, so for the arm, let's say we want to put a bend in it. So we can tap and add another node. If you want it to be a right angle, you can tap here. So that's how you add nodes. And if you want to delete them, just drag them into each other and they'll delete. Okay, so let's make an arm. So I kind of want the arm to be not like this, but sort of back. Let's say this is the elbow. We'll kind of just tuck this in a bit. I think that looks okay. You can use this to make the arm bigger or smaller. And if you want to change each of these nodes, you can tap radius once. Whoops. If you tap it once, then it'll adjust the ends. If you have all three of these, then you can adjust each individual node. Okay, so let's make the arm a little bigger down here. I want to add another one. And maybe we'll do an arm like this. So we'll do kind of a pudgy arm. And now I want to bring this more into the body, sort of like a shoulder. So I'll just add another node here and then pull this one into the body. Let's make sure it's moved back a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Maybe I want to make the body a little bit thinner. So I'll just use the move tool and just tap on the body, and you can always just make the top part a little bit thinner if you want. Okay, I like that. Okay, so we want to make the legs. So usually when I want to make the legs, I want to make sure that the waist is I want to make the waist a little straighter. So I want to use move. And I'm just going to try to open this up a little bit. So I'll just make the waist a little bit more flat. Okay, so let's add some legs. Let's use the tube tool again. I'm going to use path. And maybe we'll just turn snap off to begin with. Okay, so we tap down on the screen, and then we drag up. Okay, and then we'll tap this. You know, I kind of like the smaller legs, actually. Of course, you can make them as big or as small as you want. Maybe I'll make the bottom a little bit bigger. So I'll tap radius once. So now we can make the bottom a little bigger. I'll tap here. I think I like that. Let's see if I want to put a little bend in it. I'm going to add another node here. And maybe I'll tap radius so I can adjust each of these nodes by making sure that this has the 3 little dots. So maybe I'll just make this a little bigger down here, just to give it some variety. I think that looks pretty cute as a leg. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more of a bend. But I think that looks great. Okay, so let's take this arm and let's mirror it. So now we've mirrored it, so now we have the arm on both sides. We can take the leg and do the same thing, just hit mirror. Okay, it looks good. Okay, so let's take the arms. I just want to make them a little bit thinner right here for some reason. Okay, so let's validate the arms. So let's go down here and hit validate. Okay, so we're still on the arms. Right now the arms are very low resolution, so I just want to add some resolution to them. So let's go here, go to voxel, and voxel remeshing is something we'll use to kind of make the body all one piece eventually. But you don't have to add parts together. You can just voxel remesh one piece, and what it's going to do is just going to raise the resolution or lower the resolution. So right now for the arms, we want to higher the resolution. So we'll go to voxel remeshing, and we'll bring this number up to about 150. And let's just hit remesh. Okay, perfect. So let's go to our smooth tool. Okay, I'm gonna just make it a little bit bigger. We can hit symmetry if yours isn't on. So make sure you're on the arms, and let's just smooth this out. Okay, perfect. So now let's take the inflate tool. Okay, and we'll go to the arm. And now what we're going to do is use the inflate to make the fingers. Okay, so we want to put the thumb about here, and then maybe the fingers here. So I'm going to go in really close And here are my numbers for the tool. So the intensity is at 50 and the radius is at about 75. So let's see how that works. So we're just going to make a circular motion for the fingers. Okay, you can see it didn't come out that much. So I've done one, I've lifted my Apple Pencil off the screen, and now I'm going to go back over it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So now I'm going to go back over it, and I'll repeat the process. I want to bring it out a little further, so I'll do it again. So that looks pretty good. So now I'll do the same thing here. I'll make the circle. See, when you start again, it's sort of, it will kind of make it inflate out further. Okay, I think those are looking pretty good. Do we want to do 3 fingers or 4 fingers? We'll do a little pinky. So we'll do the pinky here. We'll start 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's take the move tool and let's kind of push the fingers so they're a little bit flatter on the inside. Make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, let's just do something like that. And you can also kind of adjust the fingers too if you need. You can pull from the back side like so. Maybe if you want the pinky to be a little bit longer, you can just make the move tool pretty small, and you can always just stretch it out like this. So now let's make the thumb the last finger. So we'll use inflate, and we'll do it right here. So 1. I want to put a little bit of a bend in it, so I'm going to use move again, and then try to, yeah, just like that. Pull this side out a bit. If you draw fingers, then you kind of know exactly how the shape is, but you know, it's a little cartoon, so you just want to give them cute little nub fingers. And if the finger's a little too big, sometimes you can take smooth, and then you can kind of smooth it a little bit, and it'll shrink them. So just be very careful with that. I think those hands look great. So what we want to do is voxel remesh the arms again. That will solidify what we've done. Otherwise, it's just going to be too malleable. So for example, if I hit smooth, this all goes away. See? So I'm going to undo. So let's go back up to voxel remesh, back to voxel remesh. And now let's do something like 200. So we'll remesh, and then we can use smooth and just gently smooth the fingers. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's do a manual save. It's always good to save often. Okay, so I mentioned voxel remeshing. So now let's voxel remesh some of these parts together. So for example, the legs. Once you have your legs that you're happy with, I think I want to make my legs a little bit bigger actually, a little bit chunkier. I think I like that. So I want to join the body and the legs. Eventually we'll do the head too, but I don't know if I want to put ears on them or something. So for now, let's just do the body and the legs. So let's validate the legs. So just tap validate here. Okay, so now we have the body, we have the legs, which we need to go here. Let's go to this mirror. So the legs are in a mirror. That's why we're seeing 2 of them. Remember, we hit mirror. So right now, this mirror is the legs. So just make sure you're on the mirror, tap the 3 dots, name, legs. And the same with the arms. Arms. Okay, so let's hit legs. Let's validate. So what we're doing now is we're validating the mirror. So that's going to change this from being one leg in a mirror to the object is going to be both of these parts. Okay, so we'll just go to the legs, hit validate, join children, and yes. So now we have the legs there. And the arms, I think we can leave the arms for now. So let's take the legs, and we want to raise the resolution. We kind of want to match it to the body a little bit. So let's go up here. Let's go to multi-res and just hit subdivide. So now they're both around 6,000. So let's select both of these. We go back up here. Voxel. We can put it at like 150. And hit remesh. And that's okay. So now since we've remeshed both of these parts, you'll see that they're actually one piece. So now we'll take smooth, and now we can smooth the mesh. And if you just want to see this, you can hit solo down here. Should have gave him a little backside. I guess I still can. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And of course you can add accessories. For example, we'll go to our scene. We'll add a sphere. So let's use our gizmo. Let's move it down with the green arrow. Let's move it forward. So I've just turned it. I'm going to use the blue ring to move it forward. And now I'm going to use the orange ring to shrink it. So let's say we wanted to make little feet. I'm just going to move it over, down. Okay, and we'll kind of place it on the leg, and then we'll just smush it like this. And then you pretty much have a cute little foot. So we'll do something like that. Maybe we want to mirror it. So now we have it on both sides. And we'll hit validate. Of course it looks funny now because it's coming out the bottom, but we can trim the bottom. So just use your trim tool. Use rectangle. And then just draw a box, and whatever's in the white is going to be trimmed. Okay, so now it has little feet, which you can adjust as you wish. I think that's cute. You can rotate them if you want. Okay, and let's say we want to do a little backside here. So obviously you can do spheres, or you can do other shapes as well. I guess we'll stick with the spheres. We'll give them a little roundness back there. So we'll just drop it. Again, we're just using our gizmo and using the arrows. So you place your cake where you want it, or your buns, or your bunda. So lots of fun words we can use. Okay. I can make sure I get a good shot of it. You want to get a good shot of the buns for the video. So you'll notice there's already two of them, even though we didn't hit mirror. And that's because sometimes when you add a new shape, it might go into a different mirror. So if we look at our scene, we have the mirror from the feet. So let's rename this feet. And we see the sphere accidentally went into that mirror. So we'll just long press it and we can move it out. And then we only have one cheek. And then we can hit mirror. So let's just place it a little bit better. I don't want to give him too much, you know? Too much is just egregious. Maybe we want to, oh yeah, that's better. So yeah, you just want to find your perfect little shape that you want. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll validate it. And then we can use the move tool to kind of make it look a little bit more however you want it to look. But it's fun to experiment with. I think that's cute. Okay, so let's just make sure that we go into our scene and name this as well. Buns. So now we can just go ahead and validate, join children, feet, validate, join children. Okay, let's do a quick save. Let's add a mouth and like a little nose type thing. So let's use the mask. So you can see I have this pretty low, probably do around 45. Now the head is the default sphere. So this was the sphere that was there from the beginning, and it's pretty big. So the mask should be pretty clear. If it was lower resolution, like if it was like here, the feet are kind of low, you can see that it's a little more pixelated. So of course you can kind of put the mouth anywhere. I think I'm going to do up here, maybe something like that. I like, and I'm going to take, let's try inflate. Now we don't want sub anymore, we just want regular. So let's use inflate, and let's kind of give him like a bit of a nose type thing here. So I'm just kind of making a, you know, something like that. So now let's go back to the mask and let's invert this. So let's hit invert, and this might be up here. There's a little arrow where you can put it wherever you want. So now that we hit invert, the whole head is dark except for the mouth area. So let's just hit gizmo, and the only part that should move should be the part that's now unmasked, which is the mouth. Okay, so let's move that in. And then let's use the orange ring and make it a little smaller, maybe. So this is just kind of the inside of the mouth. So now let's clear the mask. So let's go back to mask over here, and let's just hit clear. Beautiful. So let's add some funny little eyes. So let's go here, let's add sphere. So now let's use our gizmo, and we'll move up and forward. Shrink with the orange ring. My voice, I don't know what's wrong with my voice tonight. I apologize. So maybe around there, I kind of want to stretch it. Let's stretch it, and let's move it over here and down so it rests right on that little nose area. Let's flatten it a little bit with this little blue sphere, and let's hit mirror. So now we have two. I kind of want them to go be a little bit closer together. So this is kind of a funny looking way to do eyes. I want to make them connect to the head though. So here's what we'll do. If you go to your scene, now we have this mirror, which is the eyes. So let's go to this mirror. Let's rename it eyes. So let's take the whole thing, so both of these, and let's hit clone. And now we have eyes 1, and these are just going to be, we'll just leave it at eyes 1, that's fine. Okay, so let's go to this sphere and just validate it. And now I want to push this back. I want to make it a bit bigger. And I'm going to switch to the move tool. And I just want to kind of pull it back. So I'm just using the move tool to kind of pull it back on the head, so it sort of looks like it's connected. I kind of like that. I think it looks funny. So now I'm just kind of pulling it down here as well. But actually, I don't really want it to, I like the roundness of these eyes, so I don't want to pull this up too far, because then it takes away from the roundness of the eyes. And you can experiment. Maybe you want this to sort of match the shape of the eyes. You can experiment with that as well. That looks kind of cool. So lastly, let's take clay, and if you want to do a little detail, I'm going to make the radius smaller. Maybe we'll just do like a little chin there. Why not? Okay, so let's take these. So these are these eyes 1. Let's validate. The arms, let's validate. The eyes, we'll leave the eyes as they are now. So now we have the head, and we have the body, the head, the buns, the feet. So let's voxel remesh all of those together. So I'll just do that again so it's a little bit, so it makes more sense. So we're going to take the head, the body, the buns, and the feet. So let's go next door to voxel, where it says voxel remesh, and let's bring it up to like 250. And let's remesh. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now there should just be the body and the arms and these eyes, of course. So we'll go to the body, let's smooth, make sure symmetry is on. So we'll smooth this out, smooth out his little buns. Now it looks a lot more natural. Smooth out the face a bit. And you can see that there's a lot that's kind of shrinking, unfortunately. Oh, it looks like we forgot this part. But that's okay. How did I forget that part? Oh, this was eyes 1. Duh. So we'll take eyes 1 and feet, and we'll voxel remesh. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a shortcut that I always use. So now we want to select those the back parts of the eye, and select them both, and then go next door to voxel, and then let's do, what do we do, 250? We'll do 250. And then we'll smooth everything out together, so it's nice and clean. We'll smooth out his little mouth here. Okay, looks like we lost most of the chin, so of course you can always add it again if you want. I feel like it's not sufficiently the shape that I want it to be, which happens sometimes. You know what, I think I just want it to be like a sphere. So sometimes it's easier to take a sphere or a different shape, you know, and kind of just like use a shape instead of trying to use the tools. Oh, let's take it off of a line. That way I just want to get it the way that I want. So that's kind of what I was thinking as far as like a little chin. So I'll validate it. And if we want, we can just make it part of the body. So we have feet. Feet is now body, so let's just rename it. See, the problem is that the body is really high and this little sphere is very small. So that's why we'll go next door, go to multi-res, and subdivide it maybe twice. That way they're about the same. I can't believe I spelled body wrong. Anyway, let's voxel remesh them together. It's still at 250. Okay, and now I'll just kind of smooth this nice and softly. And it's a little more of the shape that I wanted. Okay. Oh, and I forgot the feet. Gotta smooth the feet. Let's give him some teeth. I gotta fix this. People are gonna think I can't spell. So let's add another sphere. I love spheres. We'll use the gizmo and we'll just make these spheres small and we'll just use them as teeth. So we'll make them small, kind of thin them up a little bit, and then you just use your gizmo. And this is good for you to kind of get used to using the gizmo. It takes a while at first. Maybe we want to stretch. Maybe we want to stretch this. And then we can clone. And you can move another one out. Now this one we'll just kind of put it back to normal. And we'll rotate. And this part will take some time just for you to get used to using the gizmo. But that's all it is practice. See, that tooth looks good there. You can mirror it. Whoops. Mirror's not working. Let's go to this tooth. Can we mirror it? There we go. There we go. So let's take this sphere and let's validate. We'll take this one, and if you wanted to add other teeth, you could just clone this one, and then you could just like add other little teeth there. But I don't think he needs any other teeth. So I'm going to delete. I think this is good. So I'm just going to take this mirror and validate. So now this sphere, the only thing I wanted to do was put a little bend in it. Because you know how our teeth, they kind of bend with our mouth? So I'm just using the move tool. I'm on this sphere, and now I'm just going to push it. Kind of give it a bend. And then use the gizmo to just bring it back into position. Oh, you know what looks weird in this angle? Is the bottom part of his mouth doesn't come out at all. Right? Doesn't that look kind of strange? So I can use move, and I can just try to pull this out a bit. You want to make sure you kind of get it in the middle as well. That might feel a bit better. Look a little better from the side. But you want to just make sure you look from all angles, because here you can see that the middle is a little bit lacking. There we go. And another trick, if you want him happier, maybe we'll stick with move. You can always adjust the corners of the mouth. Like that. Get him a little happier. But I think this is good. Oh, the only thing is this is still a bit too far forward. Let me push this back a bit. Take these and pull them back a bit. Okay, I'm going to take all of the teeth, and we can, so let's select them both and hit Boolean, and then hit Boolean. Okay, so now they're one piece. So what we did, we connected them. It's a little bit different than voxel remesh. I don't quite understand it all the way, but we connected them, and now they're just one piece. Okay, so let's rename these as teeth. And let's see, maybe we want to make them bigger. You can always do that if you want. You can do whatever you please. Do we like them bigger? Do we like them smaller? Longer, maybe? Okay, I like that. I think he looks funny. Okay, so let's take these eyes. Let's go to our scene and let's take both of these, the red and the sphere, and just clone. And let's name this one P1. So we'll name it P1. And let's go to the sphere. So you want to make sure that you're on the sphere and not the red. Okay, we can validate. And now let's pull this out and then shrink. And you have your eyes. Pull them a little closer. That actually looks pretty good. The only thing that I want to try out, let's take move, is maybe stretching these all the way down. Sometimes some of the characters, just their eyes are just kind of like that. Let's take it off of symmetry and let's just see what it looks like if the that looks kind of nice. I guess round looks kind of nice too. What about bigger and flatter? So it's a bit hard to see exactly what I like, but I think that looks pretty cool. I think just the regular spheres might have the most impact on me. I'll tilt them a little bit just so they're kind of even. And they look like they need some more roundness around here. So what I'm going to do is take these eyes. We can validate these eyes, the ones in behind. And then we'll just take smooth, and I think I just want to smooth that. Maybe I'll take move, turn symmetry off, and just kind of mush them together a bit. Okay, I think he's looking pretty good. So let's just quickly add some lights and things like that. So firstly, I'm going to select everything here, and then I'm going to go to this little paint icon, and let's choose a neutral-ish color. So I'll do something like this. Okay. And now let's go to our, let's go to this little sun icon. Let's turn the environment off, and then we'll add a light. And let's go to this little shutter and hit post-process. I'm going to turn mine all the way up. If your system starts to slow down a bit, you might have to either keep this off or turn the quality down. But I'm going to keep mine up just so you can see. And I use the same settings usually all the time. So these are my settings here. Why is that down far? Should be like this, or somewhat like this. I'm going to turn bloom off, I think. But you can feel free to pause it if you want to copy mine exactly. And now we'll go back to the lights. This one is our key. So let's tap this little pencil, put key. And let's tap the intensity and just make that 2.5. And now we'll clone it here. And this one's going to be edge. And let's use our gizmo and let's hit align. So now we can move this light over. See how it's pointing this way? It's the same way the other one. Let's see if we can turn all the icons on. Right here, we can turn the icons on. So one is here. This is the first light. You can see it's pointing in the same direction. This one is pointing in the same direction. Doesn't matter where they are. It only matters where this direction is, where this light is pointing. We want this to be pointing towards us. So let's rotate until it starts to come towards us, and you'll see a nice crisp edge. Okay, you can use the little red ring to move it up as well. Just make sure you're looking at it on the front view. Okay, that's a nice, whoops. It's a nice edge. We can turn the intensity up a bit to make that a little stronger. Now let's tap these 3 dots and let's hit camera. Same thing with this one. 3 dots, camera. Okay. So let's add another light. This will be R2. We'll move it over here maybe. Okay. And let's rotate this one so it's not quite on the edge, even though it might look kind of cool if we had edges on both sides. But I just wanted a little more on this side. I'm going to turn the intensity up a bit. Something like that. So it's just a little bit brighter on this side, but it's not quite an edge. It's just a little bit more. Maybe even coming from above. I like that. I think that's all we need. Let's save. So now let's go back here and turn back on your environment. It's going to be really bright. So just go to the exposure. You might have to turn it down some. You just want to make sure you have a light side and you want to have some shadows on the other side. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's save. And if you have yours in the middle like I do, get them in a nice frame, tap here, and just hit Add View. And I like to tap the little pencil and just type 1. So now we have this view, so if we fart around with it and we want to go back to that view, we just press here. Okay, so now let's tap on the body. We'll tap on this little color cube. We can choose our color. Maybe I'll do something like that. Arms, they can be the same color or something a little different depending on your flavor. Ooh, that might like that for the body actually. Now for these eyes, maybe we want to do either white or like a yellow. We can bring the roughness down. That'll make them glossy. And then these, we can go back to the color cube and make those black and glossy. The teeth, we can go back to the color cube and make those white and glossy. Like so. And then maybe we want to give him a variation on his paint. So we tap on the body. We tap here to the layers. Add a layer. And let's call this body lighter. So we'll go back to the color. We'll go to the little eyedropper. And now we can touch the color that we want, and that brings it back to that color. So now I'll tap on this again and I'll make it a little bit lighter, like so. And then I'll tap paint. And maybe we want to paint like from here, maybe even the underside of the nose. Probably should have went in a little closer. Let's try that again. I don't mind the underside of the nose. Oop, let's turn post-process off. Be easier to paint. Okay, so we have underside of the nose. Maybe we want to bring it down here. And then to the body like this. We can make this a little bit bigger and color this in now. Now we made the inside of the mouth lighter, which is kind of silly. So of course you can go another layer, add layer, and this could be inner mouth. And then you can always take a dark color, like let's say a dark red, with a lot of roughness so there's no light bouncing around. And you could always paint the inside of the mouth darker. And the last trick I want to show you, let's say you want to get this really crisp. So you have your model and you just want this to be really, really super crisp. It's going to cause your project to get a lot more dense and heavy, but sometimes it's worth it. So just go here, dynamic topology, enable. So we're using the paint tool. You can see this little diamond here. When that diamond is engaged, that means it's on. So I'll make this, the radius, pretty small. Now I can go in and do really clean lines. Whoops, wrong color. Let's tap here, tap the eyedropper and grab that light green color. Now I can have really crisp lines. And we'll start here and just go around. Whoop. Let me go in a little closer. I think I was in the wrong layer. Oh yeah. So I think I did the dynamic topology on the other layer, like a dum-dum. Well, that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. I might fix it later. So let's go back to post-process. Let's set the background to something a little more exciting. I'll do something a little more exciting like that. Since I did blue, I want to take R2. Let's change the color to kind of match. It'll make it look a little bit more natural. Let's take this and go back to our view. Now, if you want to export this, you can go to the, let's save. Go to the little folder, go all the way down to the bottom to render, and you can hit screen. And this number, it's rendering whatever the number is that you set in the post process. So in post process, you have max frame sampling. Mine's at 350. So that's that number. It's sampling, so it's kind of a quality thing. So I'm just going to export, and it's going to go to 350, and then I'll export the image. Okay, so now we can, I'll just save it. Done. And let's say we want to do a turntable. We'll just go here, and I'm going to record mine. So I usually do scene. Speed is at 0.08. And then hit turntable. All right, looks good. And the reason I didn't voxel remesh the arms is because then the arms would kind of stick all in here and that would look a little smooth, and I just think it would look weird if the arms were attached. I think it looks great without them attached. But anyway, we just use really simple shapes. I just wanted to show you easy ways to make interesting, fun characters. Have fun doodling with this, play around with this, and just experiment just the way you would with pencil and paper. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.